All right, today we will try to finalize the documentations for the beams on levels 1 and 2 and commence the quantity extraction for the upper floors and the substructure element subcomponents that comprise the remit of our digital measurements. Right, so we will have a look at the upper floors, the concrete beams, levels 1 and 2, as I said, and follow the 7-step approach to documentation first to make sure that we have provided the 2D documentation that will support the digital quantity extraction that we're going to finalize. So the 7-step process, as we have been expounded on for the past 2 weeks, will comprise duplicating the levels 1 and 2. On each level, we'll just right-click and duplicate with detailing, and then do isolation of the concrete beams and columns, and then we'll provide dimension of those beams and the columns on the layout plans and provide the annotation to showcase the sizes or the specifications of those subcomponents that we are interested in. And then we'll provide the section and detailed views with typical beam dimensions. We resize the plans and the sections and then transfer them to Revit sheets and export them as PDF to complete the documentations. So those will comprise what we're going to finalize as we have been doing before. The expected outputs will be the dimensioned and annotated plan sections and callouts of these 5 documentation at the least. There are some other aspects that you need to add for the substructure as we have completed in weeks, I think 3, 4. But for now, the level 1 beams and column, their layout plan, as well as the level 2 equivalent. Then typical long section through the plans. The typical long section will cut across all the levels. So we need only one long section. But you could have typical short sections through the plans to cover the various beam sizes, because there are a number of beam sizes that we have discovered, that comprise the upper floors, as we discussed last week. And that will require you to provide typical call-out details, with all the annotations for each one. All right, so the first one is the level 1 floor beam and column layout. As you can see here, we have color highlights of the various types of beams. Like you could see the red one here, the 300 by 300 mm deep beams. This is level 2. You may not have 300 by 300 mm beams on level 3, which is, level 2, which is the next upper floor. But for this floor, 0 to floor level 1, you have 300 by 300 beams. And then you also have the upper floor beam, which is highlighted in green. And we will go through how you can provide a text that matches the color that you have used to annotate a particular parameter. Like here we have green for the largest size beam, which are the 600 by 600 deep beams. And then the pink, for or magenta for the 400 wide by 500 deep beams that comprise, the bulk, of the beams. And we still have the 300 by 300 only on grid lines 3, I think, grid lines, three vertical, on the vertical grid lines, on the first part of the plan, 3 to 5, 3 to 6, which is here, there, and there. And then at the base, you have from 4 to grid line 6, grid line 9 at the southern end of that plan. That's where they exist on this level 2, but you don't have them on level 1. You don't have them on level 2. And the other one will be for the level 2, which is 03 floor beam layout. As I said, you have only two kinds of beams, the 450, the 400 by 500. They are colored blue here. And then the 600 by 600 on the same vertical grid line as for 02 level 1 beam layout. So those are just the only two kinds of beams that you have, but we will have annotation, we have a concrete specification. So instead of repeating the same specification of the concrete strength, 28 MPa cast in situ reinforced concrete, 150 kg per meter cube real content, instead of having them in every description, we just have one central specification clause there while we annotate the beam, the column. We are not measuring the column, but in the columns, we have decided to provide the columns here because they will guide where the beams start and where they end, because no beam overruns the columns. They all start from the column to column. So indicating the columns will help to measure the beams if you want to choose the manual approach. All right, and then a typical long section, as we have provided here, that's typical long section showing the various beam sizes. All those 3 beam sizes is given the dimensional annotation there, or better, use callout, to provide the color details of typical sizes of those beams. And then you could have one long section, one short section, short in the sense that it's not the longest there, and at least the one that shows the carport there. There are issues that we may not need to discuss now about this column. It is indicated as column, but I think it should be a pile because if you see the substructure starts from the lowest floor finish there. So that seems to be within the ground, and anything that is in ground supporting any structure should be a pile, not a column. And if it is a pile, then we should be including it in our substructure measurement. But let's assume that that is not the case, and we don't want to go into that. I think we'll revisit that in the second assignment. All right, so typical section here, and short section, another typical one that shows those smaller beam sizes, the 300 by 300 beam sizes. I'm not sure, I think it should be this other one. And then we provide a typical callout where you provide the dimensions of the beams. All right. So duplicate levels 02 floor plan. Here I've provided details. Like when you click one of these links here, they will take you to the videos. If you don't have direct access here, you can click on this link, to access those recordings where we completed the substructure floor plan, isolation, dimensioning, and 2D documentation, and the ones that we stopped last week. So we can move ahead to do the quantity extraction without going into further details about something that we've covered before. You should watch these videos if you have not been attending classes and get yourself up to speed. All right, so quantity extraction using the Revit schedule, we will have these scheduled fields to be provided for use in that quantity extraction. Now, we may just go straight to Revit to start completing that aspect. So I'll call this off now, and then we'll proceed from Revit. Yeah. So we will extract the quantities related to the upper floors. One is the cast in situ reinforced concrete suspended slab in load-bearing structure. In other words, in your standard method of measurement, you're supposed to separate them according to levels. So you have concrete for the first level, concrete for the second level, and indicate the height, of what do you call it again? Strutting height, making sure it's not more than 3 meters. So the contractor doesn't need to look for higher lifting platforms. But here it is just made simple. Just get all the upper floor quantities, the slab quantities, because it is going to be measured in meter cube. So we extract we have only 2 upper floors here, floors, which are level 1 and level 2. But unfortunately, the designers do not understand our elemental method of measurement. They don't understand our measurements. They just put everything as floor. The roof is also designed as floor. And the ground slab, which should be separated from the upper floors, they're also floored. So what we have learned to do is to identify those floors and use a duplicate and rename type to tag them as upper floor. So when we are pulling out floor is Revit schedule quantities, we will be able to identify which of those floors are we interested in for the upper floors. So we've used the type, when we say UF, then 03 level 1, upper floor isolated slab, we know that those are the slabs that we need to aggregate the quantities and provide them here, not manually. We always say we don't deal with manual quantities. What this template is supposed to be hosted online. It's supposed to be in a cloud. Like if you are using Autodesk or using Econex or which other one is it? Apart from Econex and Autodesk, there's one that is popular here. Procore? The what? Procore? Procore. No, Procore is a US one. They don't use that most, but some use it here too. Yeah, a lot of it's very, very robust and profound. But I think Econex, and there's one other one that they use here, and Autodesk Cloud. Autodesk now is sweeping all of them away. Autodesk is actually the one that is based on Revit, so it's seamlessly. There's no what do they call it again? The compatibility issues, with that, because it is designed, to align with all Autodesk. But what we're saying is we don't have access to that online platform to teach you guys how to do that, and you can actually use a bot, this easy coding bots to provide, transfer this thing into online, or use Google Sheets to provide this. So you can now link directly any changes to those designs to your quantities. We're going to we'll show you guys how to do it manually. I mean, how to do it with this template. And that is why we don't want you to put the quantities here, even though it's correct. If you type in the answers here, even though it's correct, you're going to lose mark. We want you to live link it from the worksheets of that of the quantities you've extracted, the Revit schedule that you've extracted, integrate it here, and within that worksheet, do some takeoff or any additions or reductions that you need or removal that you want to do, and then live link those quantities to here, which is actually what we're going to do. So we know that our remit is to get the quantities extracted that pertains to upper floors and put them here. And the other one is the cast institute reinforced concrete beam. This one is no brainer. What we want here is whatever quantity this is, we've been asked to estimate the reinforcing steel as 150 kg per meter cube of that concrete. So if you get the concrete, I don't want you to put here, say equal to, which is what some people do. That is not the right way to say whatever quantity you have here, times it by 150. It will still give you the quantity correctly, and it is also using functionalities, but that won't give you the mark that we want. We want to have a live linked. What we've done now, you're going to do it in that Revit schedule worksheet. What I'm saying here may sound Greek, but I'm just giving you an overview. And then if, oh, sorry, this is beam. Sorry, this is concrete beam. This is the extra reinforcement relation to that beam. So this is where times the slab. So the slab one, whatever quantity we get from the slab, we times it by 150. The beam, we're not asked to do anything there. Just get the quantities of the concrete beams. The concrete beams in the first floor and in the second floor. And then sundry works, concrete pumping by pneumatic placement is also no-brainer. It is the total quantity of the slab and the beam, the concrete volume there, that is assumed to be concrete pumping by pneumatic placement, the meter cube, of the concrete that we need to put in place, using the pneumatic placement. Some do give escalation, say maybe times it by 10% for west and things like that, but just put the quantity just the way it is here, and then allow for concrete sampling and testing. This is an item, so you just put one there, or there is a way to look at, the bays, how each slab will be separated into bays. And when you cast any bay, you should take 3 samples. So if you know the number of bays, you times it by 3 for the upper floor, for the first floor, second floor. But we don't want to go into those details, So we're just going to put here 1, and you have your mark there. So the key things that we need are just those floor slabs and the beam. And so what we're going to do today is to go back to Revit. I hope you have your Revit open, isn't it? When we get the quantity extractions, then we go back to attend to you, just in case you're not too sure how to get, sorry, let me just see. Sorry, it may not be here. It's not this document, sorry. It's in the other document. If you need advice on how to how to get this documentation. Last week, we started it, but I don't think we finished it. But from what we've done, you should be able to get, this is the one for level 1. And then the other one for level 2. They are not really the same. There are slight differences. For instance, this one has this balcony here, curved balcony, but this one doesn't. And each floor must be provided with all the dimensions and all the annotations in place. And there is a highlighting that we've done here. So that is what I may have to give you further links, further hints, so you'll be able to generate, documentation like this, because that is the documentation that this subject is aiming to hone your skills on. So you'll be able to interpret drawings. And the problem that we're having with the designer's drawings is that there is so much clutter. It's so confusing. They put a lot of things there, to confuse you. So if you are not well versed, in understanding drawings, now you won't know what you're doing. And that's exactly what the lawyers do. Have you seen legal documents? They, instead of using plain English, they use all those their legalese, so you don't understand what they're saying. So you will always consult a lawyer, to pay them. Write simple English so people will understand. They use all those legal jargons, and you read the whole document, you won't understand what actually they are talking about. So what we're doing here is to declutter, remove all those cluttering things, and focus on what we're measuring and get the dimensions so somebody can check it out. And we will, Tyler is not here today, but I believe the deputy class rep is here. So you can remind me to go through this with you guys if time permits us. Obviously, we'll have time because what we have today is just can I ask you to put a date for me here to pass it around so I don't forget? All right. So if you have your model open, can you go to level 2 on the project browser? Oh, sorry. Project browser, structure plans. Yeah, this structure plans here. Click and 02 floor. I'm sure you would have had the isolated 02 floor, which is level 1. Do you have the 02 clone version, the one you duplicated with detailing and isolated them?
I think it's got UX, but yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually what I'm aiming to achieve. If you don't have that UF attached to it, then obviously you have to do it, because that helps us to know, okay, I think I mightn't have put the UF. I'm the one that is at fault. But if you have UF, I think it should be UF02 floor isolated. Whatever you have, that's what we are working on. So isolated slab for the upper floor. So you have this one in, do you have access to this now?
Yes.
Now, what we're gonna do, in order to make sure that this video is not too big, because if the size of this video is so large, then it's gonna crash before I upload them. So what's gonna happen is, I beg you in the name of God, please, can we all flow together? Forget about discussions, forget about any other thing you're doing. Let us work together, because I may not have the time to catch up with you if you're not paying attention, if you're not following the steps. So listen now, I want us to flow together, okay? What we want to do now is, the moment I start recording, follow exactly what I'm doing. If you get distracted, you're going to lose. And then maybe you have to then wait until I release the video, and then you go through the video. But I will go at a slower pace. So thank you so much. Has everybody signed this? Sorry, who has this powerful pen? Oh, thanks. Okay. Um, if um, if you don't stick with us, then you're going to lose, you know, some of the steps that we're going to follow. But I will go slowly to make sure that everybody that is paying attention will follow, and then the recording will be complete because I don't want to, keep this recording too long. So if you have this floor, isolated floor before you, when you click on the outline on that floor, if you click on that outline and look at the properties tab, you will look at under dimensions. These are the available dimensions or quantities or parameters of this floor that we will extract. And obviously the one that is of critical importance for us is the volume. We only need the volume, but we might still keep the areas because there are some other need for the areas, which we don't want to go into. And also the perimeter, like those perimeters might be necessary for us to have, I don't know what they call it again, like drains, perimeter drains around, they follow that curve and things like that. So those are good quantities. We're going to extract this. So this gives us an idea about the items, about the dimensions or quantities of this flow that needs to be extracted for this level and also for the other level, which we're going to come up with. So if you have this one, then the other one is level 3, isolated slab here. So we also have this level. Do you have this level as well? And if you click on it, you discover that its volume is not exactly like the previous one. So we're also going to select this. Now, with this selected, who can tell us the type of Revit schedule that we need to pull out these two quantities? How do we know what Revit schedule we use to pull out this quantity? Can anybody help me here? It's what? The floors. How did you know that?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, Jose, you just made me, you want me to faint. You of all people, the problem solver.
I just figured we want the areas of the floor so much.
Oh, who else can help me? How do I know the Revit schedule to use to pull out when I click on this floor here, when it's highlighted, it's clicked, and it's showing here, these are floors. How do I know the Revit schedule to pull it out? It's what? Thank you so much. In fact, all of us will contribute money and buy her lunch because this is what I kept on hammering. When you click on it on the properties tab, next to edit type, what you see here is the Revit schedule that we need to look at. Does that make sense? So you've all got it now. So now to get that Revit schedule, there are two ways of going about it. Either we click on view here. When you click on view tab, you see Revit schedule, schedules. And then you click and choose the first one, schedule quantities. So if it is not this way, another way is to come through here on the browser, look for, some people prefer this, schedules / quantities, and then right click there and say new schedule quantities. So those are the two ways of going about it. Either way, you have access the new schedule, isn't it? So this gives you all the gateways to pull out any quantity in that model that you are interested in. Now we're interested in the floors because that's what the edit type, in this that shows, on the properties tab when we clicked on that element that we're interested in. So we go on that floor because they're all arranged in alphabetical listing A, B, up to the floors. And then this is the floor. So when you click on it, it brings the name here. And we don't do anything else but to say, okay. Are you with me now? Are you all paying attention? Okay, then when you click OK, then it provides the schedule properties for that floor, and it's asking you, what fields are you interested in to extract? We normally go for the levels because the levels help us to identify where these floors are positioned. So we can now know through the levels, the one that is on roof level is not what we're interested in, and the ones on the ground floor is not what we're interested in. But all the other floors, level 1, level 2, level 3, are the ones that we're interested in. But if you have that spreadsheet that I told you, there's this document I provided there for week 6 on Island. Just pull it out because it gives some of the what we're going to do today. Week 6 being this document. I think the last part there. Yes. So Revit floor schedule. We will try to extract. Is this PDF? Microsoft Edge. Okay. We will try to extract, well, apart from the elements, just take the type. Can you see the type here? So click find type here, scroll down here, find type, use the green button to put it to this side. That's the field of interest for us. Let me tell you how that works. So with this open somewhere, so you can be guided. Just have your own, that document open somewhere. So we go for type first, T. When you click on it, you use the green arrow to push it to the other side. So you have type there. Then if you still have that document opening, discover that then the next one is structural material, because structural material tells us which one is metal, which one is concrete. That also helps in some differentiation. So structural material, then green, push to the other side. Then the next one is level, L, push to this side, and default thickness. There are different types of thicknesses. There is core thickness and all that. Let's just go for default thickness. And the other one is perimeter. Yeah, perimeter. E for perimeter is and then the other one is count. Yeah, count. The other one is area. The other one is volume. And then there is estimated real volume. We don't need it for this assignment. We'll need it in the next assignment when we design the reinforcing steel and when we want to check whether the standard real estimate is in line with the reality. But it's good to still add it now so we get used to it. Estimated reinforcement volume under E. Estimated reinforcement volume. All right. So when we've got all this in place, the type does not help us to extract the quantities. Okay, but let's just leave it now. Just leave it the way it is and make sure you tick include elements in the links. These elements that we've created in links helps us to track any variation. When these architects secretly submit, you know, some revised plans, and they've made some changes in that plan, and you are supposed to catch them up to have a variation claims, they will not let you know. So this helps us if there is any change. We don't want to go into details, you know, how you use that robot thing, you know, to detect any changes and then help us to price the variation. But just take it now, and then you say, okay. So this is what it has given us. I'm just giving you an instance. These are the extractions from what we have required, and we're interested in this volume. And then estimated reinforcement volume. Can you see the units of measurement and things like that? They're not really what we want. But can you see, we don't really have a way of separating our upper floors properly. If you have UFs indicated in your types, that's fine. But if we go to sort them by UF, it doesn't actually put all of them together. Like to sort, we come to here, look for the fields and the sorting. Can you see the sorting here? So click on edit, that's sorting. Now it brings you the schedule properties for sorting, and it wants you to sort by. If we sort by type, because that's the reason why we have used a type to help us identify our floors, UF. So we sort by type, pull down here and use type, and then if we check ascending and descending, we try to see where our U stands here. There is concrete deck. So if we use descending to be the sorting, then that means that the like X and Z's, or any alphabetical listing that has X and Z will be on top, and then down it starts descending. So I want you to be on top. So we click on the descending. All right, and we click on grand totals. Let's for now leave this atomize every instance and click OK. Let's see how it's going to sort for us. Well, it has brought all the types like upper floors. So we're interested in only on these two. And then this is the one that we're going to extract for the element substructure slab. And then we're not interested in all these ones because they all belong to roof. Then this is our grand total. Now, what we want to do is to provide, you know how in your residencies, the government provides two kinds of bins. One is the recycling one, and then the other one is the landfill one. So we're going to provide two bins to help us differentiate, you know, whatever we're going to extract. And that is the element. The element will comprise those two bins. So we're going to have an element whereby with that element, we're going to sort all these things into two bins. The bins that we want now for our upper floors, and then the other one for roof or whatever. So to do that, we will click. To do that, we'll go to back to the fields. Can you see this field here? Click on the edit for the fields tab. So it brings us back again where we started. And now we have to introduce a new parameter. Like I told you here in this document, that we have to add a new parameter, and we're going to add this parameter as type and text for use in sorting. And if you go to the next slide, this is how we make the selections. So when we click on that new parameter icon, then we're going to make specify some properties as we see here. So while this is open, I'll just go for us to implement what we've just done now. While that is open, I will click on here. This is the icon. The first icon there is new parameter. If you click on it, so it asks you the name, and the name we want to call it, call that is element. So type element there. Element. And this element, we want it to be type. So it's a type parameter. So if we had designed our type parameter to indicate all UFs, then when we click make one change, when we type UF in one aspect, it will migrate to the other rows of slabs that are of interest, as suspended floors. Like if you're doing a high-rise buildings, if you're doing high-rise building, you discover that we're going to have up to 1,000 rows, and you don't manually want to go and be putting every rows, tagging them as UF. So this type helps us to do that. And then under the data type, we need to change it to text. So look for text there. And then the other one is so when you choose text data type here, it will tell you that group parameter will be under that. So automatically will provide this text. Well, this one is not checked. And now that's all. So what we did there is to give a name to that container element and select the data type as text, and make sure that the type is selected, and that's all we did. And say, okay. So it dumps it here, but we need to use this up and down arrow. Just use this arrow to take it to come the first part there. So that's going to be the first column. All right. So use this thing to take it up there. You actually use this, like for instance, if count, because count should actually come before the dimensions, you can click on count and use this thing to bring it above the perimeter, because that's where it should be. All right. Or thereabout, it doesn't matter. Now, if you say okay, then it provides this container. And then for the first quantity, which is the volume for the first suspended floor, under the element row for it, you're going to type UF, identifying it as upper floor. UF, and it asks you, this change will be applied to all elements of the type. Unfortunately, we have only one element of the type. But as I said, if you have a project, you could have up to 1,000 rows. So it automatically does it for you. So you don't need to be typing this. So you say, okay, it's not going to do it only one type because they are not. So here too, for this UF, we put UF. Now this one is SB. That's substructure because we identify it as substructure. This SB will be useful because the substructure slab is supposed to include the top slice of the slab as well as the thicknings, the edge thicknings, internal thicknings. So we could have had a type parameter that will tag all the edge footings and internal footings as part of slab. So they will be all grouped into SB floors. So we can have them together, but now it's only one. Now the other ones, concrete deck, which is roof. So we just put RF here, RF, and this one too will be RF. So we select RF, and that's all. All right. So that's what we do now, and then we go back to sorting again. We go back to sorting here, edit sorting here, and then instead of sorting by type, let's sort now by that element that we have provided. Now there is something that we need to do after sorting by element. We want to put a blank line. That blank line will help us if we identify any slab as UF, then it's going to provide a subtotal for all the UFs. Then if we have rows of SB floors, it's going to provide a subtotal, the same thing with roof. So we have 2 floors. So putting this break line helps us to aggregate floor 1, floor 2, you know. And then for now, let's say itemize every instance. Let's leave it checked. And then we say, okay, now can you see that blank? It has provided a place for us to provide the subtotals of the volume. So we need to specify the subtotals of the volume. And even if the area, even if we want to have the subtotal of the area and the perimeters, we can do that as well here. So what we need to do is to get those subtotals here. The next thing to do is now to come under formatting. Can you see this formatting here? So formatting, edit, click, and then it tells us that the fields that we have selected for our quantity extraction, we have the opportunity to modify them to suit how we want those parameters to be displayed. So the quantities, the first one is perimeter. The perimeter that we saw there was given in millimeter. So when we click on perimeter, so long as you're on this formatting, when you click on the perimeter, we can, in the heading, we can put in bracket meter. I don't know whether there's no way I can make this thing to be clear enough, but just next to that perimeter, put in bracket M without giving space. All right. And we have to come to field format. You guys need to remember this because that field format helps you to ensure that the perimeter is going to be displayed as meter. So if we go to field format, the default unit for that perimeter is millimeter. So we need to untick this default because we don't want to use project settings. And then we choose meters here. So it's going to be displayed meter. And because it's meter, let's choose 2 decimal places. What I will want to always, if we want to extract any quantity and we want to merge it into our spreadsheet, please make sure that it doesn't have any symbol. All right, some will have automatic display of meter as a symbol, like you saw in the volume and area. So we need to come here and use none to those symbols. And that's all that we do. So meter, 2 decimal places, no symbol, and say okay. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we have a look at can you see this no calculation here? If we want to aggregate all the perimeters, so we have to come here and choose calculate the totals. We'll choose the option of calculate the totals. So we'll pull down here and use calculate the totals. And that's all that we did. So the heading, we put meter here. So whatever is going to be displayed, because there is no unit of measurement, we know is meter. And then get the totals if we need the totals aggregated. And say, okay. And then let's go back again. There are more because we want to make sure that the area, these symbols are removed and it's going to be meter, and the volume, these symbols are removed. Estimated perimeter, these symbols are removed. Now, can you see the perimeter is already, the symbols have been removed. The unit, whatever is removed. So let's go back again, formatting, click, and we choose the area. And here under the heading, we'll put M2. Bracket opens, M2, bracket closes. for that area to show that after the symbol is removed, that what we're seeing there will be meter squared. So we go again to field format. Because the symbol is displaying here, we need to untick this thing. Yes, square meter is fine, but we want it maybe 2 decimal places. We can round up to whole number as you guys do in measurement 1 and 2, but let's just leave it at meter squared 2 decimal, and then make sure no symbol and say okay. And then we come back here and choose calculate totals. All right. Now, without moving away from here, let's click on volume again. Here, volume, we just put MQ, M3, bracket opens, M3, bracket closes. And field format, we untick this because the volume is showing, the unit symbol is showing, so we say none. And that's all, because it's cubic meter, which is what we want. And then estimated reinforcement volume. Now, this is too long. The things that we want to show here, there should be no space, just like we did in type. Because if we take this thing and you transfer it to Excel, it will break this thing into 3 columns. That element will be 1 column, reinforcement will be 1 column, volume is 1 column. So what we want to do is we put estimated hyphen. Instead of reinforcement, we say Rio. So what I've done is to make it one word, estimated hyphen Rio underscore vol, then without space M3, meaning meter cube will be displayed. All right. Then field format, because the volume is showing here and we don't want this unit of measurement of cubic centimeter. This is why some people don't like Procore. Ozzy, you say Procore is very familiar. So Procore, they will always use this American inches and squares and pounds, you know. So here we want cubic meters, and let 2 decimal places, okay, but no symbol. So none. And that's all. And that's all that we need. And make sure that is calculate totals. Let's make sure that area has calculate totals, and the volume here, when we click here, it has, oh, volume, we must calculate, calculate totals. So please help me check. When you click on area here, does it have calculate totals? And when you click on volume here, does it have calculate totals? And also here as well, make sure the calculate totals are there. And then you say, okay. So it's now giving us all those quantities without unit of symbols. So that makes it easy for us to extract and integrate with other aspects we're going to do. Now, we could have individually specified that the display of these values should be aligned properly. Can you see the headings are not really aligned? So what we do is we can start from here. Let's try, put your cursor here and then drag. No, sorry. From here, from the top side, this row, the first row there, put your cursor and then drag to the last part there. I believe that's the last part. And then when they're all selected, you come to align horizontally here, choose align left. So it will align all these things, you know, so the heading will be in alignment with the entries. And you can actually...
It says structural material, you know, you said it can't have a space or Excel put in 2 columns. Does that mean we have to remove the space there and default thickness as well?
Start it again.
So you know how we had to remove the space there because you said Excel would put it in 2 columns. Do we have to do that for structural material and default thickness, or will it be okay?
Oh, it's just okay. Just okay. Let's see how it's gonna, when we extract it if it fragments, then we learn to make them. Okay, so, but that's a good point you pointed out there. And so when they're all aligned here, so what we're looking for is the UF. We're going to have the totals provided for us here. And for us to have those totals, we can actually take this in the way it is and calculate the totals ourselves, or we go back to sorting. This sorting here, it is sorting. And we will uncheck itemize every instance. So the count will upgrade it. So if we click here, like if I bring this thing here, if I untick this and say okay, then you could see that it will calculate all the totals of the volumes. And then in the grand total, obviously the grand total is of no use for us, you know, and it tells us the count. There are two of those floors, and the total volume is here. It's not useful now here, but it's going to be useful for the ground beam. So we either use this one, or let's just go back and you click on sorting again and make sure that each item is itemized. But I just gave you give you that knowledge, you know. So when you need it, you can use it. So right now, let's leave these ones the way they are, so we can identify the quantities of the upper floor, the lower floor, etc. So we're now ready to export our Revit schedule to CSV. So what we need to do now with this Revit schedule in place, then we go to File. Can you see the File button there? Click on File. So when you click on File, you don't need to come anywhere here. Just follow the files. Can you see this little wiggle here? It's quite difficult to know. There's a wiggle there. Use it to go to the last part. Sorry.
Says less options than yours. It's the same one.
Okay. Okay, need to be on export. Can you see this export? Be on the export tab. If you be on the export tab, then just come to this little wiggle there. Can you see? Until it gets to the last point. And all what you see here, the second one is reports. Can you see the reports? Then follow this to come to schedule. So export, then reports, and then schedule. Click. So it asks you, where do you want to extract that Revit schedule to? So it is what I want you guys to do. This is floor schedule. Put underscore your initials, because when you're submitting this thing, I cannot open 3 files at the same time. So I mean 2 files at the same time. So underscore your initials. Please, this is what you must do. Any submission you're making to me on these assignments, assignment 1 and 2, whatever you're submitting, that titling should have underscore your initials. Now that makes your work separate from others. Underscore. I put my own underscore JM. All right. And I will now navigate to where I want to save this document. And week 6, I want to put it here. And then when you do that, it asks you the options you want. You don't need any other option. It's field delimited, delimiter, field delimiter. So click OK. That's all that you need to do there. Something happened. Sorry. Okay, I think it's saved already. So what's going to happen now is we must go to, first of all, get this template up. All right, the template that we're going to submit. When you get this template, make sure when you click File, Save a copy, that you have assignment 1, just for short, ASG, ASSG 1 underscore elemental base of quantity. You can put in remove template and say UF hyphen or whatever space UF and SB, then put your initials underscore your initials. So ASG1 elemental base of quantities UF and SB underscore your initials, and then save it in your submission folder. For me, let me just put it under this week 6 and then save it. So you have something that you should be submitting now, but make sure it's open. And then you can right click anywhere and say insert, or you can just use this plus here. You can use this plus. When you click on plus, it gives you a sheet, a worksheet. That worksheet, you double click on that worksheet, and then you call it floor, small, then just FLR for floor schedule. So FLR schedule, always put underscore your initials, okay? And all these things here, especially the BOQs and the schedules, you will also double click here. So now you make it personal. So BOQ 03 UF underscore your initials. At least do it for BOQ UF, and also when we come to SB, you just remove the example and put your underscore there, your initials as underscore. Okay, so let's go back to that sheet, that floor schedule. So be on that floor schedule, right? And I don't know what this. Sorry, let me just. I don't know what this is. I don't know why I clicked it. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So while you're on this floor schedule, the top side here, can you write in capital floor schedule? UF floor schedule. UF meaning that these are upper floors. And when you click on it, make it large. Maybe use 28 or 24. Make it bold. All right. So you have your floor schedule JM initials. Then somewhere here, maybe 1, 2, second row down, put your cursor there. With your cursor here, then you go to data on top here. Click, and then choose Get Data. Profile, and then choose from text/CSV. Click, and it asks you where do you want to extract that quantity from. So you navigate to where you saved it, like mine is showing here, week 6, and then this is the flow schedule with my underscore initial CSV. Click, and then you will click on import. See the tab here, import. Now you have to click on load. Choose the option load to option. It's not load, but load to option. So it takes you now to this sheet. It comes and asks you to select the import data properties. First of all, you want it to be on existing worksheet. So you click on this thing here, existing worksheet. And also here, you use this arrow. Obviously, it should have been pointing to where you put your first tab. Click again, and then come back here, and you say OK. And that's all that you need to do. So it provides that extracted data for you. And we are lucky. This didn't break into. Now, if we didn't put, especially when it gets long, I think it has a certain number before it start breaking into another column. So all of them are here, and the volume is just the way we want it. Everything is in the right column. Okay. So what we need to do is within this worksheet, to do our side casting, so to say, the waste calculation that you guys used to know about. This is still measurement, only that is digital. So let's go to the bill of quantities for upper floor, click on it, and look at the subheading for these suspended floors. Click here and select it. Say right click and copy that. We want to copy this information and then go back to that floor schedule somewhere here. Control V, paste it. Uh-oh, it's so okay. It doesn't matter. In the BOQ, can you see this BOQ worksheet for upper floor? Click on it. This is what we've, or you can actually type it. It's 03UF. We don't want to. So then when it's selected, just come here and paste it. And if you paste it, can you just right click and go to Format, Cells, this option. When you click on it, go to Alignment tab, and this merge cells, we don't want it to merge cells, just in case we want to print out this. Untick merge cells and untick wrap text because we don't want it to wrap into. So it just provides it like this for us. So what we might do is this one is too, this part is too, this column is not needed much. So what we want to do is just improve this a little bit and then use this to type our level 1 is the first floor concrete. So we type first floor slab, second floor slab, and total slab quantity. We select. Oh, okay. This is quite large. Well, it should be. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So we select, put your cursor here and select those two columns and come here in the borders, select the bottom border. Click. So there's a line there for us. Now, within here, we will click equals to, not type, equals to. We will come to that quantity for slab quantity, which is volume. So we click here to bring that quantity here. And then the other one too, equals to, we go to the next row beneath that under volume here. We're not interested in estimated real volume because those reinforcements are not in place. That's for assignment 2. So with these two quantity, we may have to, on this column, just type MQ to show that these are MQ volume units. All right. And these ones, to select these two and use this alignment, align it to the other side. When you click here, it will align it to the other side. And then we can select these two quantity, those two rows, and use auto sum. Click auto sum. Okay. Sorry. Control Z. Sorry, I did the wrong thing. Escape, escape. Sorry, I messed up here. Equals to. Just give me 1 second. Let me come back again. Let me use equals to. Equals to. I just type equals to where I want to provide a sum. Equals to sum. SUM. Bracket opens. Then I'll select these two rows. Bracket closes. Or even if you type and click enter.
I'm doing the same thing, give it 0. I don't know.
Now, yes, it is telling us 0 because that's something I just want to tell you now. Whenever you extract any quantity using that go get data, it doesn't treat this thing as an Excel, your normal Excel. So you always leave 2 rows where that table it has provided for you, 2 rows down and 2 columns away. If you have less than 2 rows, it will still treat it as text because what you have there is not actually Excel.
You go and click on the cell that it's sourcing it from, it identifies it as a number.
Yes, it identifies it.
I just went like this, and then
Yes.
it just popped up there.
Yes.
And then it went like that.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was 0 before.
Yes.
Back. Yeah, then I just went like this. And so yeah, it registered as a number now.
Yes. Yeah. So the problem that what we did before was how do I put it now? We should have, say for instance, if we let me try something. If I keep my cursor here and say equals to, let me see if that's gonna work. And I make a selection here, and the other one too. Don't follow me do this. I just want to verify something because at times, this thing will spring surprises. Now, if these two are in place and I select those and yeah, it's not actually giving me that. Yeah, something is wrong.
You just go and click on the text. So I think it still thinks it's text rather than a number.
Yeah.
So you just go click on the source. It'll update.
Yes.
You just double click on that cell.
This one here?
Yeah, double click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then get it. Click on the next one below it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Click on another cell.
Oh yeah, so it will make it convert it from instead of number to be. Yeah.
And if you go back there,
yeah.
The sum will have appeared.
Yeah, it's true. Another way to do it is also to select everything there. And when you select the whole quantity, you right click and go to format cells and use the number and make sure that they are number. All right. And possibly 2 decimal places. And then say, okay. So that is also another way. So it's good that you're pointing it. Now, that's why we're glad to have you here. Honestly speaking, we will all give you an award for helping us much here. Yeah. So that's one way you can do that. And you also try to, just like we did in the Revit schedule, select everything here and use this icon, align it to left. So the title and the entries will align properly. Okay. And when that is done, so what we have done here now has provided that meter cube. So when this quantity is highlighted, we click on this cell and use this, maybe use yellow shading to shed it, and also use thick borders around it. So we know that this is where we get our quantity, and we've done our side casting. So this is side casting that we're talking about. And then we come to the BOQ UF. So when we click here, and then we go to that cast in situ concrete slab, this highlighted quantity column, say equals to, we click equals to, and then we go back to that floor schedule, and then we click this number. So that is how we want you to be doing it. If you type 931.28 or what 932, type it in here, and you think you've got the quantities, you have missed the point that we are trying to achieve, that we are trying to achieve some kind of automated workflow to some extent. So if there's any change in this floor schedule, when we take that floor schedule and provide another one, there's a way to automate, the changes that are made, and it's going to capture as a variation, but it's outside of the scope of this assignment. All right, so that is what we do. And then because the quantities for reinforcement, okay, this is reinforcement within the slab. So please, can we make changes here? Instead of extra reinforcement, can you click on this cell? Instead of extra reinforcement, let's just say reinforcement. So it's reinforcement, and it is reinforcement 150 kg, isn't it? So we have changed this item. There's an item that we're not going to measure, but we will click on this as now a measurable item, and it's going to be in tons. So let's go back to that floor schedule. Sorry, before we go to floor schedule, this is the reinforcement. So when we click here, we select only, double click and click only reinforcement. This one here, reinforcement, sorry, not above, reinforcement 150 kg. Because bar reinforcement, sorry, so please, it's reinforcement 80 kg, sorry. It's reinforcement 80 kg. That's what has been assumed. Reinforcement 80 kg of the slab. So we just copy that, right click, copy, and then go to the floor schedule, and we click here. Sorry. We want this to break into, right click on this and say format scales, format this cell, and you click alignment and wrap the text. Okay, so it's going to provide something like this. So reinforcement 80 kg assumed, and we put that 80 here, and here we say kg. The next column there, sorry, small letter kg, and so we have 80 kg. Then sorry, it's 80 kg per meter cube. Then we will say real volume. Sorry, real quantity. We want it in kg, real quantity in kg. Now we place a cursor here, say it's going to be equal to whatever quantity we got here. We click on it and then click on star or times, and then we pick this up. So that gives us the real quantity in kg, but we also want it in tons. So when we click here, T for tons, we place our cursor here and type equals to whatever kg it is divided by 1000 to get it in tons. So we have 75 point. They normally say tons should be left in two or one, at least one decimal place. So click here and use this decrease decimal, sorry, decrease this one, the one by the right here. Decrease decimal to just 1 point. Okay, said 4.5, and then we highlight this, give it a thick border and highlight it. So that's a real let's put a column, a row here, insert entire row and put here real in slab or slab reinforcement. So here we have UF and here slab reinforcement. Okay, so this is the quantity. So now we go back to the UF reinforcement. We click here and say equals to, and then we come back to that floor schedule and we'll pick this up. So that gives us that quantity. We can actually adjust this as well. Click here and adjust that accordingly, or maybe leave it to decimal, doesn't matter. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do is to go for the attached beams. And oh, it's time for you to go, isn't it? Okay. Huh? Okay, so come back. Okay, all right then. All right. Is it time for? Are we supposed to have a break now? No. It's not yet time to break.
Halfway. We can have
no
halfway break now.
Olivia, where is it? Where is she? Oh yeah, sorry. I always miss you always stay around here. Okay, because of the trouble in this computer, isn't it? You're now running away from there. Yeah. So tell us when to go on break. Halfway. Okay. Do you want us to go break now?
Yeah,
okay.
If it works with you, depends. If it works with your lesson, we'll go on break. Not if you want us to keep going.
Yeah.
Push on.
We can push on in this because actually I'll have to leave exactly by 12. So let's push on. But if we want to have a break, just let us know. Okay. Okay. So the other one is to extract the quantities for the beams. So for that beam one, we will go back to the model and go to the browser, look for our isolated on the structure plans there. Look for, let's look for level 2, 02 floor level 1. Anyone that has to do with isolated beams and column layout, have you got this isolated? You guys may not have got this, but you might have had 02 floor. You had this 02 floor, isn't it? 02 floor, and it's looking crazy with all the other things there. And in the last, I think last week, we said, and if you also watched that video that is now on YouTube, towards the end, you saw how we try to understand the types of beams that are attached to these floors. The second floor has only 2 types of beams. We tried the third one, we couldn't find it, and we discovered that that third one is actually in the roof. So that's why we are required to provide sectional views that shows, and also details that shows typical call out details to annotate, those typical beams. So on the second floor, that's 03 floor, there are 3 kinds of beams. I mean, 2 kinds of beams. But on the third floor, there are 3. So what I want to find out from you guys, have you been able to, because this is now part of roof, we don't want to see this thing here. Have you been able to clone this floor, right click and duplicate with view? If you've done it, don't follow me to do what I'm doing. Say duplicate with detailing. And this floor that is now duplicated, I'll right click it and rename it as maybe 02 floor.
We have one called beam, floor, beam, and column layout. Will I do it?
Good, perfect. Do we all have that? What Ozzy is saying now, have we have a clone version that we renamed floor lev? Something like that. 02 floor to identify that this is still floor, or maybe even if we do FLR underscore lev 1 underscore beam underscore column layout. If we have this, then you remember what we said, that if we click one of these beams here, one of the beams that are showing there, if you click one of them, and you could see that they are part of structural framing. Okay, so structural framing is what we need to use in our VG to isolate, to remove every other thing that is not within the structural framing. And so if you click one of the beams there and then click, so they're all structural framing. But something else that we need to do is to click on this. I think we didn't do it last time. Click on this column, because the column marks the beginning and the end of every beam. So if we are doing it manual measurement, we can identify the length of these beams to measure them manually. Okay. So if we click on those columns too, they are called structural columns. So in our VG, we're going to leave out structural columns, and we also going to leave out structural framing to isolate every other thing that is in there. So we will, in this isolated floor beam column layout, if you already have it, if you've done this already, don't worry. But if you've not, I will type VG to bring up the VG. And again, if you guys could remember, the first thing to do is to click all and then hit this to make sure everything is deselected. And we say apply, leaving everything has gone that is modeled here. And we go to, who can remember the first thing that we need to select here? Who remembers?
Detailed lines.
Detail items. Yeah, detail items as well as lines and okay, floors. We can identify floors, so it gives us the outline of where they are housed. Okay, we can do that. But if we choose floors, we have to do something. If not, the floors will mask whatever we've done. Let's put up floors. But more importantly, what else? What next do we, after detail items and lines, what else are we going to select? The what?
Is it beams and columns?
Yeah, that beams and columns. Who remember what houses that beams and columns? Structural framing. That's good. Thanks, Olivia. You're doing your job. So structural framing S, which by the way is the Revit schedule that we use to pull it out. So structural framing structural framing. You see there is structural beam. Don't just look at what you clicked there that was highlighted next to the edit type in the properties. That's what you'll be looking for. So structural columns will be there, and also what's the next one? Structural framing. Yeah, the beams there's a beam here that could confuse you, not this one, but it's just structural columns and structural framing, and that's what we use. Structural framing. Yeah, this one here. So those are just what need to be. So we click apply. You see they are showing here, and we click OK. Because when we selected those beams, even though they are beams, can you see next to the edit type, they are structural framing. Okay, that structural framing is what we use, just like we did in floors, to pull them out as the Revit schedule. And the other one is this one we want to show. It is structural columns. So that's why we use the VGs to isolate them. Now, because these things are still reckoned as structural framing, like if you select this, okay, because we selected floors. We selected floors, that's why it included this one as floors. So we highlight it and right click on it and say hide in view, because this is not part of what we're looking for. Hide in view element, and also everything that is in here, because this structural formation on that grid line, let's first of all tick all these grid lines here. Click and tick here, click and tick, click to display them on top. Wherever we see a grid line, there's a grid line here. Do you have a grid line and as well as annotation section box, a section line there? If so, come under the grid line, put your cursor there and use tab until you select the, okay, sorry. The best thing is just to click here. When it's selected, come to that wiggle. If you have this thing along this grid line that is masked, if when it shows the wiggle points there, the break point, which is here, click and then it breaks. If it breaks, can you just take one end away, maybe up there, and then down to take the other end away from our drawing. Always do this for all the dimensions and all the sections apart from the grid. So take them away from our drawing and also away from the grid lines. You can bring this one closer and then maybe closer and then take each line away. So it will be displaying now my grid line here, and I can also go on top there and click here, sorry. Okay, this thing is still masking my, if I, yeah, I need to click on use tab to select it. So when it's selected, you can see this thing is masking it. I'll zoom and, sorry, Let me just take this thing away. Yeah. So use the tab until you see grid lines at the tooltip. If it shows the click, then that's the one that will show that something here for you to click to make sure that this grid line 1.1 is showing, because for beams, we want all the grid lines to be showing. So here too, make sure that is highlighted. Here too, highlight them. Here too. And finally here, okay. It doesn't hurt to also show them here, but I will leave it to finish up with those ones. Only the grid lines, not the if this thing is masking the grid line, thing there's no grid line here. Let me hover. If you hover any line, any section line covering any grid, hover your cursor there and use tab to toggle until you get a grid line. Okay, there's no grid there, and you can actually check it and make sure there's no column, because those grid lines follow the column beam, so there's none there. So later I will want you guys, any of these section lines, when you click on the section line, break them and take them away so they don't cause confusion. You think it is a structure. Sorry, I might have done something. If you make a wrong move, use Control Z to undo anything you've done. I just want to make sure that these section lines are taken away from our drawing. Yeah. So later on, we will choose the right section lines that we want to keep. We just want to have one overall longitudinal and maybe one or two overall horizontal, and then the other section lines that we don't need, we hide them. Now, all these things, I will just place my cursor here. Even this grid line is not needed. I will just right-click it and say hide in view element. And then every other thing around this area, because they don't belong to what we are doing, I will sorry, maybe from here. Okay, let me just select one instance here because it's called, okay, I want to do it by category. Yeah, they're all selected now. I'll say hide in view elements. Okay, so that is gone now. I have only the beams. Okay, so what I will do now is, yeah, continue with this side to show the grid lines. Now this one is masking a grid line, I'm sure, or maybe not. At any rate, it got to be broken so it doesn't mask what we're doing and take it away from our model. Okay, if you like, you might do further cleaning because there are a number of sections that we don't want. The one that we want is the section along this 1.1, which we have selected. This other one, I don't think we need it. So let me see what it has. Okay, it has a typical section which we might use as well. Otherwise, yeah, and for that, if we want to return it, we need to break it as well and get, because the lines will be confusing.
Have that one.
If you don't have it, good that you don't have it, don't worry. So that gives you less work to reduce. We need one section along 1.1 because it has a different type of beams, a unique type of beams for these floors. So 1.1, we don't need this one, so I could actually hide it in view by element. Just hide that one. Well, we need this section because if you click on this section, go to view, this is what we want to return. Okay, but we'll come to that later on. Let's just continue with what we're doing first. So back on this place, this section 2, I don't need it for now. I'll just, every other section line apart from this one, and possibly a section line across here. I think I will strongly want you guys to make sure you have a section line around between C and D. Let me see. Just, can I ask you guys, do you have any section line between C and D horizontally? Do you have anyone?
Yes.
Oh, good. If you have it, that's fine. So one of these, and can you also provide a section line here between I and J? Take any section line. Don't let it be through the center lines of the beams because it's going to max them. Just take maybe the last bay here. Leave this beam between this and this, which is section lines. Yeah, leave this beam, the second beam, then the third beam in between. Just put a section line and drag it to make sure you're following horizontal to the other side. Okay, and then you break it and take them out away from the drawing. Okay, like if I come here, that section line I've drawn is going to block. You don't really know what that means, so I will just zoom to where the wiggle is and then take them away, drag them away from my section lines. Now, with that in place, every other section lines, please, can you hide them in view? Just return one here and one between grid lines C and D, which is this grid line here. Just have one across like this and also take it away.
It should just be 3.
Yeah, 3. So actually, I can just do it now. So we're all in the same. If I right click here and say, select all instances visible in view, and then as we said before, this one is the one I want to return. I'll click on Shift key and select it to deselect. Yeah. So that has been deselected, and the other one is this one here. Shift deselect, and then the third one that you've just drawn now, this one. Shift and deselect. Then go to the ones that are selected and say hide in view elements. So I will return. Oh, I don't know what I did, but anyway, you guys know how to do that.
Just
that
big line, it's not a section, but like it's just kind of just below. See?
Oh yeah, this one. This one here. Yeah, please just delete. Not delete. It tells you that is something that shows you the span direction. It tells you that just remove is we don't need it. Just hide it in view. Sorry. Yeah. So all those obstructions, just remove them out of view. This one too, just hide in view element. Now, just clean up the other ones. Now, what we want to do is we have 3 kinds of beams here that we want to annotate. The first one, if we click on here, this beam, and then go to the edit type and click on preview, we see the vertical, which is like if we click here, what is displayed is the depth. And I think we've proven that that depth is not the right depth. We have to remove the part that produced into the color, into the slab. The slab is 300 mm, isn't it? So whenever we see that depth, we know that it's going to be that 600 minus 300. So it's going to be 300. And the breadth, like when we click here, you see I'll view it on the plan level. So yeah, so that one is fine. So whenever we see any beam that is 600 by 300 on this level, we have to clone it and title it UF. I don't know whether you guys could see here, or else you can pull down the PowerPoint that I gave to you guys. I think it gave the right naming that we want to give to that. If you have that somewhere, I think something, yeah, it's going to be something 02 floor, or okay, that's a duplicate name, but okay, let's just do it here instead of looking where it is. You just type, first of all, before you do that, just click OK. And then we will click here because we know that this beam is going to be 300 by 300, 300 wide by 300 deep concrete beam on level 2, and it's UF beam, level 1 beam, 300 by 300 deep. So when I click on one instance, I will say select all instances in view. So it selects all of them, and I could see where they are. They are also here, here, here. That's why we need to take a section here to show them. And they're also above. So between grid lines 3 to the other vertical grid line 3 and grid line 9, that's where they are. All right, so 300 by 300. So they're all selected now. And we go to edit type. If you have not done that, if you have not given a type UF underscore 02 hyphen FLR underscore LEV1 underscore beams underscore 300 times 300 deep, so you need to duplicate. Yes, so you need to duplicate. And if you duplicate, so that name, the name that you're going to give it is, first of all, UF, capital UF underscore 02 hyphen FLR, so you don't need to write too long, underscore LEV1 underscore beams underscore 300 x 300 mm hyphen deep. All right, so that's what we clock it as, say okay. All right, so that will be showing whenever we select any of those beams as the type. I will say okay. Is that okay? Did you get that? All right, so you can actually test it. By the time you come to this beam, click any of the other beams, it will be showing you there.
Change the dimensions to 300 by 300.
The what?
When we duplicate, we change the title and then we change the dimensions to 300.
Yeah, then the dimension has to now reflect the true dimension, which is 300, not 600 by 300, but 300 by 300. That's what it is. Okay. Now we have to look for the other beam. Oh, sorry.
I'm saying one element is completely inside another. Does that mean I've duplicated? That means I've created a new beam inside the originals.
Did you create any beam?
I did the duplicate.
No, duplicate, yeah. So if you duplicate, it shouldn't have any problem. So one element is completely inside another. The undo, let's see, undo. Is it okay? Okay. what were you trying to do again? Select one of the beams, right click.
Oh wait, I need to select all in view. So, where's it? Select all instances.
If that is the one that you're dealing with, can you click on it and say delete? Click on it and say delete. Delete. Don't be a don't.
Delete. It's gone.
So it's gone. So there's no beam actually there. Let's wait. Don't do anything else. Let's see. A grid line. So then Control Z so it can come back again. So I don't know why it's asking you that. So select all. View.
And then I went to edit type.
Yeah.
And duplicate.
Yeah, duplicate. And then start typing. UF underscore 02 hyphen FLR hyphen LEV1 hyphen beams hyphen 300 X 300 hyphen deep. Yeah, I say okay.
Okay. They change the depth.
No, don't change anything there. Just leave it here.
Okay.
Don't mess around with it. Okay. So we know that's 300 here. So yeah, don't do that. So okay. So all of them are now what we just hang on there. When we select those beams that we have isolated and typed and named as 300 by 300, let's select them again. Like if I select one of those beams, making sure that is 300 by 300 that we've talked about. Now let's select all again. Select all visible in view, select all instances visible in view. Now, when they are all selected again, we need to color them differently so they will show differently. Let's say we will come to graphics override here, this graphic, click and select the first one, override by elements. So all of them will be colored differently. So we're going to come to projection line, this projection line here. Now we give pattern. Say it again. The what? Yeah, there's a pen there. Sorry, let me do that again. With your element selected, can you see this somewhere here? It's just like a pen. If you pull it down, say override by element. That's the one you choose. Did you get that? So there's this pen here. If you hover over it, it tells you that this is graphic override. So you select the first option there. Override by element. Yeah. Did that work? Good. So when you select that override by element, so all of them are selected, and then under the projection line, click the projection line, and pattern, you use solid line, and the color. Can somebody give us a distinctive color that we want to color those 300 by 300? Which color do you want to? Red. Okay, let's choose red color and say okay. And then the weight, let's give it about 3 or 4. Let's say 4 weight, and that's all that we need to do. And we say okay, and click somewhere else. Did your something show? It disappeared. The blame Hamish. Hamish did it. We need to do something now to make it show. Are you with us, Hamish? You caused a problem and then you just leave us alone. When you say flaws, to show flaws, the structural flaws. So what happened is that the structural flaws, Hamish structural flaws has covered it, so we're not seeing it. All right?
We could only find 2. There's 3 here.
Don't worry, let's sort that one out first. Just hold on. So what we're going to do is let's select the flaws. If we select the flaws, click here, then you come to this point. click here and use wireframe. And then it will show.
Yeah, I got them now.
Yeah. So which one were you saying again?
So you know how we were looking for the different beam types? These
Yeah.
ones we just did with C300s, there's C400s, and there's C600s. So there's three
So,
different types.
so let's go to the other one, the other type. Okay, let's go to it. Now go to that grid line 1.1, vertical grid line 1.1. Click one of those beams because that's where, if you zoom here on this grid line 1.1, if you have not made this to show, make it to show any of the beams on this grid line, click on it and go to edit type. You see the type that you saw there could be 900, 600 by 900, isn't it? So duplicate that. Click duplicate. And that duplicating, you're going to call it just like you did the previous one. You're going to type UF underscore 02 hyphen floor underscore level 1 beams underscore beams underscore. Now it's going to be 600 by 600 mm hyphen deep. So that's what you're going to call it. Did that make sense? Just like what we did before. The only difference is changing the dimension to be 600 by 600 instead of 300 by 300. All right? And when that happens, you say, okay. All right? So, oh, sorry. Before that, okay. Before that, I just select again. Select other beams. Because we should have selected all of them, but we selected only once. So we've given it a name. So what you need to do now, select other beams on another beam there, right click, and select all instances visible in view. This is what we could have done before. So if this one is not selected because you're giving it a name, so what you need to do is go to the edit type, and then you pull down this thing and select it, and select the one you've named 600 by 600. Does that make sense? So that will make all of them to select. UF02 hyphen, just the 600 by 600 deep beam is what we want to show there. And you could see the H is 900 and the B is 600 because this H 900 needs to have 300 removed for the floor slab. Okay, so that will select all of them. Okay, so with all of them selected and they're having this naming. Now, as we did for the first beam, you go to graphic, override graphics again, and choose the first element. And on that projection line, let's give them a different color. What color do you guys want us to give? First of all, the pattern has to be solid. And then the color, what color do you want us to give? That will make it stand out in the drawing.
Blue.
Blue, okay. So choose blue and say okay, and make the weight 4 and apply. Okay.
Where did you apply the color?
The what?
Like, where can you open the color?
The color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like when you select, when you first of all, after select all instances visible in view, and then you go to this graphics override by elements under the projection line. Click on projection pattern is solid, as we've said. And then the color, this is where you click color, click anywhere here, and then you select this blue. Does that make sense? Okay, and they say okay, and then give it a weight of 4. Okay, and say okay. So that has been colored for us. And lastly, there is another beam, another set of beams, which are these ones here, wherever they are. Just click one instance here. Sorry, click only the beam. When you select the beam, first of all, right click and say select all instances visible in view. So all of these other beams will be selected. Go to here. It will be showing something like 700 by, that, I don't know what is, whatever it tells you, just click on duplicate there. And I want you to rename it as UF, just like we did done before, UF underscore 02 hyphen floor underscore lev1 underscore beam underscore, give it 400 by 500 hyphen 400 by 500 hyphen deep, and then that's all. Okay, I've already named mine, so I'll not change it. So if you see your H, if you look at the H, it is showing 800. So if you remove the 300 of the slab, so it's going to be 500. So that's why it's 400 by 500 deep. All right. And then you say, okay. All right. Now, before you do anything, while they are all selected again, you now go to, as we did before, override graphics and select the first one there by element. Now we need to go under the projection line, give it a different color. We have red, we have blue. So for these beams, solid first, what color do you want us to give it to also stand out apart from red and the blue? The what? The what?
Pink.
Pink. Will pink stand out on the drawing? Let's try. Where is the pink color? Or maybe magenta or something. No, it will appear like red. Let's give green. Is that okay? Let's choose this kind of green, especially on this part. Make it a kind of solid green. Like this is the initial green. Come here, take this latter part here, make it. No, that's too dark. Maybe this one here will show it more clearly. And then you say okay, and give it the weight. Because it's green, let's make it up to 5. So it will show more solidly. Apply. First of all, click apply. Let's see how it looks like. Even with green, it doesn't. Well, let's just leave it that way. You guys have good eyesight. But those on site, they might struggle, except if our toner, our printing toner is very clear. All right. So, sorry, we didn't do something. Let's do it again. Select all instances visible in view. Did you give it the name that we talked about? Okay, that's good. So we have identified all these beams. Now we will take our notation. How many types of beams here? The red one, the blue one, the green. One other thing we've not done, have we done we want the columns to stand out. Let's choose the columns as well. If we select the columns, there is only one type of column there. So if you right click, use tab as you position your cursor here. Use tab until it highlights. Tab. Okay. If you click on it and you see some round column, then right click and say select all instances in view. So all of them will be selected because there is only one type of column there. And with those columns selected, you go to edit type. The type is 450, duplicate and say, so we'll call it CL, though we're not interested in column now. CL. Now, all the columns in all the floors, right, to the roof, they're all the same size. So it's a CL 450 dia. Let's identify it as reinforced concrete column. So one word, CL 450 dia reinforced concrete column. You can actually select this now because that's what we're going to use. Select it and then Control C, because that's what we're going to use to do annotation there. Control C and say OK. So the B there is the diameter. So all of them selected and named. That way we will use this override, and possibly we can use the surface pattern. Let's try the surface pattern and make it solid and use a color. Maybe yeah, the pink that you mentioned. Maybe let's use a pink. Maybe something like that, and see how it's going to display. Let me put this thing away and see how. If I yeah, that looks good. So that helps us to identify where the columns are. And now we just want to start doing our annotations. First of all, let's come here. Let's click somewhere here, and under the properties, let's go to the crop region, make sure it's ticked, and see how our crop, our diagram is, our drawing is going to be cropped. We want to concentrate all our annotations within this place. Okay, not far away from this. So if I zoom, we want to keep all our annotations to this side. So the first one is maybe the columns, because I have Control C already selected. So I will go to annotate, and I'll use the text annotation here, T, this icon, save the project, and let me start typing with this A without anything. Just before I type, can I ask you here, after you click that A, can you come here and select anything 10 millimeter? Do you have 10 millimeter area? If you don't, you got 9. Select that 9, and okay, 9 is okay. Just 9 is okay. Okay, and when you click somewhere here, sorry, escape. I need to drag this thing further away. Sorry, not that one, but the annotation, this one here. If this is not showing, the dotted line is not showing, make sure here it is ticked, annotation crop. I need to annotate, drag it far away so it can display whatever I'm typing. Okay. Now I'll go back again, annotate. I'm confused now. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So I'll just click on annotate text and make sure it's 9 millimeter. Then I will zoom and click here, and then Control V if you've already done that, or else you say remove that CL there. You just type 4 millimeter. Now I can remove all these hyphens and all that because that's annotation. 450 mm dia, reinforced concrete column. You say typical. Why typical? Because all the columns are 450, and then escape. Now, what I've just drawn, yeah, I don't want to see this thing here. Just hide in view. element. If I click on it, use the downward arrow to bring it down here. While it is placed in this position, let me take it a little bit to the right, sorry, to the right as well. While it is in this position, I want to take something that is pointing to this, to the one on top there, maybe this one here. So what I will do is here, I will select this type of, this option here, click, and it will bring an arrow. Now that arrow, I want this to, the first one, drag it to point to what I've just drawn now, to point to that circle. Okay, so that shows 450 mm diameter. But in addition, I want to color this text to be the same color, so people can associate it with the color, with what it is indicating. So if I select that text box, now what I'll need to do is to use the graphics again, override graphics, click, override the graphics, and oh, sorry, not the override. When this is selected, please just go to edit, the edit type here. Can you see this edit type? Why the text box is selected? Click, and you have to duplicate now. Duplicate that text box. Duplicate, and you're not doing anything but just saying that this is pink color. I just say pink. Okay, so identify that as a pink color. The name pink, okay, because I already have a pink somewhere. Just duplicate yours. So this could be my pink 2, but don't follow me to write pink 2. Okay, so I have a pink there, and always don't make your text boxes to be opaque. Always use transparent, and I can make it bold. I didn't change anything. The text size still remained the same. Okay. Except if you want to make changes, then you can make it maybe 10 millimeter, but don't do that. It's too late now. Say, okay. Now, sorry, there's something I've not done. Because it's pink, I click on it and go to the color here. Can you see the color here? This color, I'll click on it and use the pink that I want to use for displaying my, I don't know where that pink color is. Okay, so, okay. So this will display the pink that relates to that. And if I use the same text, I will click on it. I think this text box might be too large because I want, after dimensioning, I want my, okay, let me just leave it there. Now, just click on this. When it's selected, hold on Control and drag. So that brings me to one of these beams. So that beam, when I click on the beam, we said that that beam is 300 by 300 deep beams. So the color is, I don't know what color this is. Is it red? Okay. So if it is red, then I'll click on this, this thing here, and then go to edit type. Then I will duplicate it, and I will just simply call it red instead of pink. I'll just rename it as red. Okay, and nothing else changes. So, okay, sorry, before doing that, I need to go back again, click, come here and change the color now. So click on this color palette. So color. What is happening? I don't know what is happening to me. It has refused me to. Let me cancel. Come again. Edit. Did you succeed in pulling this thing down? No. Under color, my color is not. It's giving me a problem here. That's Revit there for you. Well, since it doesn't want to do that, just leave it. But if your own worked, fine. If it doesn't, just leave it. Then the other one is, so now I change this thing now. I'll change the title. So it's going to be 300 by 300 beam, 300 by 300. All right. So did your own show a different color when you did it? I don't know why mine just hung up. Again, that's one of those things that we say about Revit, that you can't really trust that even if you are following. Oh, good. So, all right. So we have a red there, and then still click on that and hold on control, drag it down. Maybe bring it here, and then let this thing point directly to the green beam. And again, these green beams, they are the 400 by 500. So you only change the wording. Instead of 300, you say 400 by 500 deep concrete beams. And then because it is green, you click on that and go to edit type and okay, cancel edit type. Okay, edit type, duplicate, and that will be not red, but that will be green. I say okay. Okay. You don't have green before, so it will not ask you that. But even if you have green, this becomes my second green. Okay, and then you change the color to be green and possibly bring it a darker green so you can display properly. And say, okay, so we have one, I think one more beam type, the blue one. The blue ones are this one, and they only occur on grid line 1.1. So we also annotated that it occurs only on that. So select one instance of this, hold down on control and drag. Maybe here, and then extend the arrow to touch that green, that blue line here. Zoom and make sure it's touching yeah, like some of these lines, if you don't zoom, it will not touch it. Those on site will always want to see where that arrow points so they know what they're doing, what they are picking. So this one again, click and edit type and duplicate and call it blue. So that would be blue. And change the color here to be blue, maybe darker blue. Okay. So we can actually identify the deep beam, concrete beams. We can put in here, say, only along only along vertical grid 1.1. So we know that this is where it exists in this. So that's the only annotations. The only thing we need to do again now is to provide, maybe use this text box, one of these text boxes. Maybe let's click on this one and hold on Control, drag up. Maybe bring it up to here. And while we have selected this, we will click on it and use this red thing here, red icon, to remove those arrows, because we want this to be for our notation. And then while it's selected, first of all, edit type and choose the black. Oh, sorry, don't quickly choose that black, because sorry, cancel this one. When it's selected, just come here and choose not the blue, just choose any 9 mm without the colors. The usual 9 mm Arial. Since you don't have a, do you have any 10 mm? So with that 9 mm selected, it becomes black now. Go to edit type and duplicate and give it maybe 12 millimeter. So type it as 12 millimeter. And say okay, and then no opaque, transparent as always, and change the text size now to 12. Okay, and yeah, bold. Bold is always useful for those on site. They will thank you for making life easier for them. Okay, so we have that, and what we want to type here, we go to the spreadsheet and say all concrete is 28 MPa. I think that is what it is for the beams. Say all concrete is 28 MPa. Just click from here. Copy just that part. And then come here to replace it. Before you start replacement, you say concrete specification. And then you type that. And then you make it wider. Okay, then. Oh, yeah, see how much, yeah. Okay, so you might choose this concrete, select it and say Control U to underline it. All right, so that is done now. All that you guys need to do is have a look at how we have dimensioned this, those beams. So have a dimension line that pick all the individual beams, and after the individual beams, and then you take the one that dimension only the spaces between the, sorry, I know you guys are weak. But I think you guys can do this. Just look at where the grid lines are, dimension the grid lines, and then provide an overall. But the other one is dimensioning, picking the outlines of the beams, and the distance between them. In other words, what I want you to do, just give you an example here. Click on annotate, and use aligned, and use maybe something like 5.5 aerial. And what I'm saying is click on the outline of the beams, like here and here and here, just the beam outlines on every side. All right, when you have selected them right through to this side, and to that, that's the only one, that's the only side here. But you might actually want to pick on this one as well and this as well. It doesn't make much difference. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have. I could just say one Control Z to, oh, the whole thing disappears. I'm so sorry about that, because I was looking for only, can I do redo? I think I was actually, oh, well, it has. So I just do the beams, all the beams till the end with 5.5 text size. Okay, when I come to this point, I might click here as well, and then position that, click, and escape. Now, what I want you guys to do, because these things are too squinty, I just want to have, pick only the beams, click on that beam, use this thing here to drag it to one side, maybe to the other side, just one line above the normal dimensions between the beams to show the sizes of the width sizes of beams wherever they are. Just drag, click, click on that. Oh, sorry. What did I do? Control Z. Come on, just click one instance of this and then use this thing to drag it. If you keep it like this, it won't show that that curve. Just drag it a little bit, one line above this for all the beams. Here too, drag one line above. Here, drag one line above. It's not necessary, but it helps to indicate that these are dimensions for. Yeah, well. Okay, when that happens, then you take another annotate, and this time around, use a bigger font size, maybe 7 or 7.5. If you don't have, just use edit and duplicate and give it 7 point. And that will be center lines of, just only annotate center lines, 7.7 or 7 or 7.5, whatever. Just pick only the center lines of the grid lines. Click the grid lines only. And then you just keep it somewhere here. And then the overall from here to the other side, only on this side. Don't click this because it does not have any. Click and then position it. And that one, that overall that you have provided, click on it and give it a big font size, maybe 12 or 9.5. Your highest here there is Okay. Now, this is how you annotate your beams. And one other thing you might do to help clean things up is when you click on this grid line, make sure that the grid lines are they're not within your drawings. So just go up and take them away from your drawings. All right. It actually helps if you take annotate line and you use a detail line, and maybe take a detail line from this side, click and use the follow double pink line to the other side and drop it. This detail line helps them to help those things, what you're doing now, to, like when I click here, I could drag this thing up. It snaps better to this grid, to that detail line that you have indicated here too. Cool. Okay, this one is already snapped in there. And not the one for the grid line. Grid line should be left, but all those detail lines that are touching your, when you click on that detail line, sorry, not here. Okay, they're already selected. Just move them away from. Now they snap better at that line that you've drawn. Okay. And here too. Leaving the grid line untouched. Okay, I've done that. When that is done, just click on that detail line and delete it. So that gives you a clean way of annotation. Now do that here as well. And here as well, just follow the way we have done this detailing here in that document that I supplied to you. So detail here and detail there, and we've already done these annotations. And when that happens, you know how to transfer this sheet now to Revit. So what you might do is, like this space is too much, I'll just click here and use the handle to bring it closer, maybe up to here. And here too. After your annotations, I don't know where annotation is going to be. And then I will transfer this. Is 02 floor, level 1 beam column layout. I will right click. Oh yeah, can you imagine? This is quite huge here. Quite huge. And I will click on the crop region on tick so it doesn't show here. Okay, and then I will come to sheets. You guys know how to transfer something to sheet, isn't it? Right click on sheet or new sheet, take the largest one here, this, and immediately give it a name, say level, this is 03, 02, 02 floor FL, level 1 beam layout. So just beams, because if you write too much, it will take it beyond this. 02 floor level 1 beams. Okay, and with this placed here now, you go back to where you've kept it under floors, isolated. I think it's this one here. I don't know. Drag it and then bring it here and click. And yeah, that should be fine. And then if yours is within here, if this line, if it is within here, click on it. When it is selected, then use your arrow key to make sure that it is fitting well. And then when you go back to this drawing, then you can do the rest of the dimensioning. And then it's time for you to export this now. So you click on File and Export as a PDF. And you give it a name first. You say is 03. But before that, you need to give the sheet number is S hyphen 3.15 or whatever your sheet number is telling you as the beginning of that file name, capital S hyphen 3 point, give space. So this is the name. And then you browse to where you want to save it. As you know, you go to your document there and submissions. I don't have submissions already. So you create a folder, submissions, or if you have submissions, then what is asking you is the folder name. So you just select the folder and say open, and then click open again. So with that folder name, say open again, and then click here, export. And when it is exported, go back to that sheet where you have saved it and see how it displays. 261 submissions. What happened there? Assignment 1 submission. Yeah, so, where did it? Oh my God, I'm not sure where it is, but no. I put it as a submission folder. Could that be this one? No. Okay, I just go back again and redo it. File. File, export PDF. Give it a name S-3.15. The rest of the items, I just want to find out why it did not. Oh, my goodness. File. What is happening to me now? Export PDF. S point. It's S-3.15 beams. Let me say 0 to lower lev 1 beams and column layouts. Browse 261. Okay, let me just dump it here. Let me just dump it here and export, and then try to find where it is. And this is one. Yeah, somewhere here. Then I will check how it looks. But that sounds okay for me. So you complete the rest of the dimensioning. And please, please, and please put your initials here as the author. Then check out, it might put me JM. Just put your initials. I just want to see your initials on all your submissions. And lastly, Oliver, how are we doing to time? It's 10 to 12. Oh, 10 to 12. Okay. So we didn't even go on break. Sorry for keeping you guys there. Thanks for your. Okay. Now, we've actually covered everything that we need to cover for this assignment. We have what we've covered now. If you've just produced up to that point, apart from taking the sections, which you know how to take the sections and annotate the sections, the other one is to extract the quantities of the beam. So I'll provide a video on that. But within these 5 minutes, I just want to take you through that process. It's exactly what we did before. So what we need to do is what we have done here now. You should repeat it for level 2, exactly the same thing. And in terms of the beams, as we have pointed out, these beams, sorry, I have to go to the section where it was drawn. These beams are extracted using structural framing. So all I need to do is within 5 minutes. Sorry, my brother. I know you want to go, isn't it? Me too. I'm pressed here too. Within that structural framing, because it's structural framing, I will go to either here and select. That's why most people go to view and schedule quantities, and go to structural framing S for structural framing. Click and say OK. Then it asks you what would you like to extract, in terms of the fields. I would say this time around, let's start with the levels, because the levels will help us to distinguish which ones are, because the levels, the beams are only pertained to levels L. Take it there and then type. And because this has a lot of steel and all that, so I'll take structural material to help me isolate the ones that are truly concrete. And then I will then start taking the Okay. Let me take a lot of things here. I don't know which one will work and which one will not work, like cut length. And I don't think I need elevations now. Estimated reinforcement volume will come later on, but just the cut length and the length and okay, the volume. Well, what about thickness? Oh yeah, I may have to, because in order to remove that slab thickness, I may have to. Okay, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, before the lens, okay, let me just put the H value and the B value. And get a count. Maybe. And level offset. And extension. And Z offset value. Okay, I will just use Z offset Y offset value. I don't know what. Let me bring the volume to the last. I'll just bring it over here. And also take this new parameter called sorry, I'll call it beam types. Okay, beam type is the name of that parameter, is a type parameter, and is as before text, and that's all. So okay, so oh sorry, I'll take it up to the first part there, which I will use to annotate those beams, and I'll say okay. Now I may have to go back to sorting and sort it by type. Let me start by type first. And I will not itemize. See, that's where that I'll put a grand total, but I will not itemize every instance. Ascending, or maybe descending now. I say, okay. So you have the UF beams. All the UF beams will be isolated for you. And then under the beam type, you type UF, UF, UF. So UF up till here. So if you have named all your UF beams, they will all be picked up here. If not, you go back and name all those level 3 beams. So all the UFs will be available here up to this point. Then all these other ones you can keep them as orders. I still have some concrete beams. These are the ones showing on roofs. So you might actually call other ones roof, RF. So RF. So the hedge, now the volume varies, and maybe under the sorting, I'll put a line here, and then when I go to, oh, sorry, I need to go to sort by element or beam type. Yeah, sort by beam type. Yeah, so when I go to formatting now, I will take that volume and I'll make it calculate the totals, and field format, I'll make it cubic meter, but no unit. Okay, and so it has sorted all the upper floor beams as 252.83 meter cube. So all I need to do is now to export this now, click and export. And then we're using this wiggle here. I'll come to reports, then export as schedule, and I will go to where I provided this before. So structural beams, schedule, structural framing schedule, and say okay. And then within my, somewhere here, I just click a new sheet. And this is structural framing beams. Structural framing, but I need to indicate that they are beams, and then my underscore. I just make it bold, or maybe it's 28. And then click here, say insert, get data, get data from file, CSV, and then structure framing, import. And while importing load to, then existing worksheet, use this to, yeah, that place is fine. And okay. And when that happens, this is the volume that I want. So I might come to the UF and click on attached beams here, and structure beam here. I'll just give somewhere here, Control V, attach beams. So only one quantity here. former cells. I don't want it to merge. So I will have only one quantity here. Maybe make it up to 14 and it's meter cube. So equals to, I just pick this quantity. That's all that I need there. And within the UF beams, concrete beam, cast institute concrete beam equals to, I just come there and the structural framing, I just pick up that quantity. And extra reinforcement, 150 kg. Now I need to do it over there, not here. So just like I did here, I could just copy this, what I have here for floors, and go to that structural framing somewhere here, Control V. And this reinforcement is 150 kg. So I write 150 here. And the real quantity will be equal to whatever that is here, times it by, I select this. And that gives me my real quantity, kg, and in tons. Then I'll click here, equals to, go back to floor framing. I just pick this quantity up. But this is not extra. We say it's reinforcement as we did for the other one. This reinforcement, within beam, just reinforcement within beam. At assume real content. And what I have here is not meter cube. You change this thing to tons or T, small letter T. And I think that's all. And this other one, you can do it here, or I would prefer you go and do it over there, where you take the concrete volume for this plus the concrete volume for this, and that gives you that volume, and this is just one item, and there you go, you finished. The substructure is also very simple. I will